Welcome, everybody. Today's lesson is going to be about euphemism. I'm going to have Isa read the definition for us so we are all on the same page about what euphemism is. But then once we have the definition, we'll brainstorm some examples of euphemisms in English. So, Isa, could you read that definition for us that I have highlighted?
Perfect. What is a euphemism? A euphemism is a word or phrase that softens
Softens.
and softens an uncomfortable topic. It uses figurative language to refer to a situation without having to confront it. For example, if someone was recently fired, yeah, they might say they are between jobs, a common euphemism for being unemployed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a common euphemism that we hear is between jobs, um, not doing the past job, not doing the future job, in between the two jobs.
Mhm.
So we'll brainstorm a few examples of euphemism. So I will have, let's see, Yuli, can you think of an example of a euphemism in English?
I think pass away.
Pass away. Yeah, that's a really good one. What does pass away refer to?
Uh, to die.
Yeah. So maybe we have like my father passed away last year, and to die. Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you say like a lot of like kind of lower level students, they say die because it is kind of the literal word, and it sounds very strong in English that it's kind of like a kind of a clash. Um, let's see. Adriana, can you think of any euphemisms? Adriana? Yeah.
What is the question?
Can you think of any examples of a euphemism in English?
No, I'm not sure the meaning yet.
Okay. So it's just like in Spanish, eufemismo, that sometimes we use like more indirect language to express an idea. So we'll switch to Nata. Nata, welcome. Are you familiar with euphemisms in English? Do you know any examples?
Hello, Spence. At the beginning, I didn't know the word, but I'm thinking about that for now.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay. And then Isa, can you give us any examples of euphemisms?
For example, senior citizen.
Senior citizen, yeah.
Yeah.
What is senior citizen referring to?
Is the old person.
Yeah, someone who is old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
Uh, is it
Or for
possible?
example, when you say saying someone, when
I
you
think
are
that was
trying
good.
to in a relationship with someone and you say saying someone,
hmm Yeah, yeah, we've been seeing each other
someone.
for 3 weeks. Yeah. And you said to date, right? Or pursue a romantic relationship.
Exactly.
Okay. And did we have someone else that was jumping in with one?
Is it possible homeless?
What was the one?
Homeless?
Harmless? Um,
Homeless.
Homeless.
like like not dangerous, right? So harmless would be literal, whereas a lot of these are not like quite so literal. So yeah, so harmless, I don't think would quite fit, but it's similar, yeah. Okay.
So I understand homeless.
Oh, homeless.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, homeless. Um, so yeah, someone who doesn't have a home.
Who doesn't have house.
Yeah, so homeless, yeah, we could see it that way if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas this one, yeah, not quite. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have kind of some examples of what a euphemism is, pass away, senior citizen, seeing someone. So these are like indirect ways of expressing ideas. And now I have a couple examples of uh, euphemisms in English. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask you guys to guess what these are referring to. And most of them refer to death, which is kind of a taboo subject, sex, which is obviously taboo, and then money, which is something that different cultures have discomfort talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with nata, the first one. What do you think that that refers to, that first one that I have highlighted? Nata. Okay, it looks like Nata's having some trouble. Okay, Yuli, can you do the first one?
Um, I don't know if um can be something like death or the end of the relationship.
Okay, so in this case, it might feel like death, and it is the end of a specific type of relationship. It's the end of employment.
Uh-huh.
So like to fire or to dismiss an employee. And the reason that we say letting someone go is because it's not clear like why the person was let go. Were they fired, like bad employee, or were they just dismissed, bad circumstances? Yeah, we don't know when it says letting someone go. Okay, Adriana, getting lucky.
Mm, I suppose to say goodbye and and have a good life.
It sounds like it, but in this case, getting lucky is to have sex. So like Jim got lucky at prom. Um, let's see. Adriana, do you know what prom is? Adriana?
What is the question?
Do you know what prom is?
A promise? Ah, without
Prom?
promise.
Yeah. Are you familiar with that term?
No, I haven't heard this.
So it's a big dance at the end of high school. Yeah, so prom is a very important piece of U.S. culture. It's a dance at the end of the high school, right before graduation. Okay. Isa, knocking boots.
Knocking books is like doing something, knocking for the. Es knocking boots, es como. It's like, I'm not sure, but it's when we say in Colombia or we say patear la lonchera,
Okay. What is
no?
Uh, in Brazil, we have this expression for death, to die.
oh,
Someone knocking boots is like someone passed away.
okay. So in this case, that would be more like kick to the bucket, to die.
Oh, knocking boots is not like relations, sexual relations,
Yep, to have sex. Exactly. Yep.
or to have
So
sex.
yeah, like I said, a lot of
Okay.
these are sex, death,
It's
and
different, yeah.
money. Yeah. So Nata, let's see, is Nata back?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
remember.
Yes. Okay. Nata, what is passed on?
Oof, I don't know, but maybe to across the street, but I don't know.
Okay. So can anyone help Nata on this one?
I don't know. I think that pace on is similar to pace away or die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to pass away, to pass on, to die. Okay. And then we have a better place, to die. That going to a better place, it means to die. Between jobs, we saw that one before. What was between jobs?
Someone was fired or
Um,
employed.
Unemployed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unemployed, exactly. Employed. Okay. Making love, Yuli.
To have sex?
Yeah, to have sex. Yeah.
To have
Just a
sex.
whole bunch of dying and have sex. And those are two like very taboo subjects in the English language.
Mhm.
Breadwinner, the person in the family who earns the most. So traditionally, the husband, the father of the family, was the breadwinner, that he was the one who earned the most money. But obviously
Mm.
now that's not always the case. Bring
So
home the
bringing
bacon.
home is
Money.
money. To earn money. Bringing home to bacon.
Yeah, and sometimes you would like even say like, oh, like wow, like he's really bringing home the bacon, like
Okay.
indicating like a lot of money, maybe.
Okay.
Um,
Deep
okay.
together is like in an informal relationship.
What type of relationship?
Informal. So
No,
when
no,
do
it's
you don't get married?
no, it's just to have sex.
Okay.
Yeah, so like um John and Sally slept together.
Put together. Okay. Living
Yeah.
comfortable.
And
Living
and
comfortable.
we also have like sleep around. Which is so around, like if you think about like walking around or wandering around, going around, like it's kind of like a movement among different places. So sleep
Mm-hmm.
around is like different partners.
Mm,
Okay. And then we'll do Wilmer, living comfortably.
comfortably. Living comfortably.
Living comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, This is, for example, the financial stress.
Yeah. So it's
A lot
financial.
of money.
So we had the three main topics: sex, death, and money. In this case, comfortable. So like to have lots of money. So to have lots of comfort
It's
or to
like
have lots
a
of money.
stability.
Yeah, stability, but more importantly, like money, like resources.
Exactly.
Um, so like my friend has a big house in the suburbs. Um, he lives really comfortably. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at again. So we have our euphemism FAQ. Um, so I'm going to divide this up. So we're going to have Wilmer. You're going to do the first portion talking about euphemisms. And then Yuli, you'll do the second one. How do euphemisms work? And then we're going to have Adriana, if you want to do the last piece, the different kinds of euphemisms. Okay. So Wilmer, if you want to start with what is a euphemism?
Okay, teacher. I'm gonna read. What
Hmm.
is a euphemism? Euphemisms?
Uh,
Okay.
a euphemism.
If
Yeah.
euphemisms is a
And let me
word or
write this down for
phrase.
you.
Okay. Euphemisms is a word or phrase. Euphemisms is a word. It's very tricky word to say it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
agree. Yeah.
It's a word or phrase that softens and uncomfortable topic. It uses figurative language to refer to situation without having to comfort it. For example, if someone was recently fired, they might say they are between jobs, a common euphemism for begin unemployed.
Yeah, so that's a very common euphemism that we hear. Okay. Next one, Yuli.
How do euphemisms work? Euphemisms cannot be interpreted literally, so they rely on a common understanding of their meaning. They are a useful way for writers to show comfort with their language, and they can create a more conversational tone in writing.
Hmm. Yeah, so we see that it does multiple things. It softens, right? That we saw that one before. It also creates more conversational, and it shows comfort. So let's have Adriana, if you want to do the last one.
Are there different kinds of euphemisms? There are three common types of euphemism: abstractions, indirections, or litotes. Abstraction uses an entirely different sense than the one being talked about. Indirections are ways of creating distance between the situation and the speaker. Litotes use downplaying to soften a situation.
Perfect. Yeah, so three different kinds. We have abstractions. So we're creating a different scene than the one talked about. So for this one, we might talk about like kicked the bucket. Um, that there's no real connection between kicking a bucket and dying. Um, so this is an abstraction. And then we have indirections, which is a way of creating distance, but we are referring to what we're talking about. So in this case, we might use an example like um, to sleep together. Okay. Um, because this is still referring partially to what we're talking about, um, but it's a little less direct. And then litites, this is when we downplay something. Um,
So
so
Spence, excuse me, what is
yeah.
literalist? What is literalist?
So lightites
Lidotis?
is, yeah, it's referring to maybe kind of like if I say um uh my friend doesn't struggle to make enough money, or my friend isn't exactly. So like here I'm stating kind of the opposite. Like my friend doesn't struggle. Or here, like my friend isn't poor. But what I'm trying to say is my friend is rich. Um, so it's kind of an
It's like
indirect way of, yeah.
it's something like ironic in an ironic way.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because we're not directly saying what we mean. That
Okay.
the most common example of this would be if we have maybe like a conversation and you say something, I say like, "Oh, not bad." Um, like the teacher says, "Not bad." Like, what does "not bad" mean, Isa?
It's no, it's something, and when you try to say it's no big problem, but it's not bad.
So "not bad" means good job.
Exacto. No estuvo
Yeah.
mal. Yeah, like when you when we say in Spanish, es, no estuvo mal. O sea, te fue muy bien.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it means like good job. Yeah.
Okay.
Or even like very good job.
Oh, I will say nada mal.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be
Okay.
similar to "not among." That we're using kind of the opposite words to express the positive
Ah,
idea.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the questions for this section. Wilmer, um, what is the purpose of a euphemism?
The purpose, euphemisms. Euphemisms, for example, it's three purpose. For example, the abstraction is a soften the words. For example,
Soften.
not to die or pass away. And duration is a creating is a most soften. I don't know. For example, to have a sex is no indirective. For example, to sleep together is better. And littlest is uses, for example, the uh, not bad, or it's a softened situation, or good, or very or good job, or for example, this for example, the last example is a living comfortable to
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of money. This is
Mm-hmm.
a this is a purpose for of euphemisms.
Mm-hmm.
Euphemisms.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's a really good example. Like living comfortably. Um, like if we look at those literal words, lots of people live comfortably. Even, like some, like middle class people, maybe they live comfortably. But when we say it, we mean like rich. We mean like they have a lot of money. So yeah, it's kind of like minimizing or downplaying. Okay. So yeah, if we look at the purpose, we could say it's to soften, to be indirect, or to discuss taboos. Yuli, second question.
Um, In my opinion.
Well, it says in the text. It's useful for writers.
Euphemisms could be useful for writers to show comfort in their language when they need to express something not to seem rude or more much direct. They can create a more conversational tone, maybe not shocking the people or telling about taboo, for example, about when they talk about money or to have sex or the death.
Mhm. Yeah, so money, sex, death. But those are three very common ones that, and so we have comfort, and then not to seem rude or too direct. And then we have conversational tone. Yep. Okay. And then Adriana, there are three types of euphemisms. What are the three types?
The three types are little words, indirect, and abstract.
Okay, so
Abstract,
abstraction is one
indirect,
of
and
them.
little.
So abstraction, what were the other two?
Yes, abstraction, indirection, and little.
Yeah, lightities, yeah.
Lighties. Like,
Yeah. So for the purposes of what we're trying to accomplish here, we don't need to know the three different types of euphemism. What we need to know is how to communicate in English and understand in English. But I think it's helpful to look at the different types of euphemism just to kind of solidify the concepts. So we're going to look at what the different types are. That way we can kind of solidify what this idea is. So their most common types of euphemism are abstraction, indirection, and lightities, like Adriana just told us. We will have, let's see, Nata, if you want to read this portion here.
Yes. Abstractions create an entirely new sense to refer to the situation being discussed. For example, an abstract euphemism for death would describe someone as being in a better place.
Yeah, in a better place. So looking at this list, Nata, which one of these is an abstraction? Just, one of them. There's a couple, but which one of these is an abstraction? Nata.
Yes, excuse me, could you please tell me again?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have abstraction that is creating a new scene, right? So for example, for death, it's saying in a better place, that it's not indirect, it's like a complete new concept. It's a different way of expressing that idea. So looking at this list here, which one of these would you say is an abstraction, where it doesn't really relate to the literal concept?
Okay, about the phrase that says a better place. Something similar could be pass on or in a better, or no, kick the bucket.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so in a better place was the one the example from the text. But also kick the bucket. That's another one that would be considered to be an abstraction because there's no
Or
buckets
person.
involved. Let's see, indirection, Yuli, if you want to read the indirection for us.
Indirection creates distance between the speaker and the situation. For example, sleeping together is an indirect euphemism for having sex.
Okay, so sleeping together. Why is that not an abstraction, Yuli? Why is that indirection? Yuli.
Yes?
Yeah. Why is sleeping together an indirection? Why isn't that an
Uh,
abstraction?
because sorry, I didn't uh, listen before. And I think because is something that is happening, that people are sleeping together, but it's
Hmm.
other way to speak about this, not an abstraction.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So if we look at it literally they are sleeping together. But if we look at the kick the bucket, literally there is no bucket. So that's the difference between abstraction and indirection. Okay. If we look at the list here, um, like if we have like for yeah, so sleeping together, that was one that was an indirection. Um, maybe another indirection would be living or no, not living comfortably. Um, but like sleeping around, that they are sleeping with people, but it's a little less direct. Okay. And then lightities, Adriana, can you read the lightities for us? Adriana?
Um, the lie I thought is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Soften the topic by downplaying it. For example, rather than calling someone filthy rich, you may say that they're not exactly poor.
Yeah. So filthy rich means very rich. So filthy rich. But instead of saying very rich, we say not exactly poor. And so Wilmer pointed out to us living comfortably, that's an example of lightity that um, we're kind of downplaying. Okay. And then Isa, if you want to read the last portion for us.
Okay. Other types of euphemism are mispronunciation, the word freezing to stand in for its cursor counterpart, and personification, assigning personal names to uncomfortable subjects, like calling menstruation a visit from Aunt Flu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like menstruation would be something that we wouldn't normally talk about in American culture. So if we wanted to refer to it, we might use a euphemism. Another one would be like Father Time or the Grim Reaper. Um, that we have these personifications, these ways of referring to time or in the case of the Grim Reaper, referring to death.
Mm.
Yeah. And then friggin equals the F word.
It's friggin.
So friggin,
The pronunciation
yeah,
is
so
friggin. Friggin.
friggin, yeah, friggin. Or frigging, I guess in this case, they have the G, but a lot of the time you drop the G.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it'd be another way of saying the F word, but it would be a more polite way of doing it. Just like if you have like darn it, um, or if you say like heck, like there are ways of saying these words without saying them. Okay. Isa, question number 3. Why might someone use a word like darn it or heck or friggin? Why might they use that type of word?
The thing, why may someone use mispronunciation as a euphemism?
Mm-hmm.
Euphemisms? Why? Mm, I am not sure why
Is it always
someone
appropriate to use bad words?
yes, probably because the people is looking for the polite way for for some situations, or probably if for culture.
Yeah, so culture, like in some cultures, using bad words is frowned upon. So we have like effing. Um, we might say like
Yeah,
my effing car won't start.
yeah,
I'm so friggin' mad about it. Yeah. So yeah, in some situations it's not appropriate to say those words,
exactly.
like in class. So we
Yeah,
use other words instead. Okay, cool. So euphemisms um, are among many phrases in the English language that rely on local or cultural understandings. Um, they are similar to other types of speech, such as slang, colloquialisms, vernacular, and idioms. So we're going to see what the difference is between a euphemism and something like slang or an idiom. Okay. Wilmer, if you want to read slang for us.
Okay, okay, James. Slang is a type of language where a word or phrase has evolved from another word and is understood by certain regional or cultural groups. Words like hungry are portmanteau of hungry plus hungry, and boogie, shortened from burgeuse, are both slang terms, and they were even added to the dictionary in 2018.
Mm-hmm. No, perfect. So slang, so slang is, yeah, like just a casual way of expressing ideas, that is unique to a specific group. A specific group of people uses that. Okay. And hangry is a fun word. When you don't eat and you get angry, they call it hangry. Okay. Yuli, if you could read vernacular for us.
Vernacular is a language closely associated with a certain cultural or regional group. An example of vernacular is the word y'all. I don't know.
Y'all, yeah, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what is a y'all a contraction of? What two words is y'all, Yuli?
you all.
You all. Yeah. So you plus all equals y'all. And in the United States, there's like some kind of the same way as in Colombia, there's discrimination against costeños. Like, oh, the costeños, they speak really bad and they don't know Spanish.
Mhm.
In the United States, for Southerners, there's kind of a similar attitude, like, oh, like people in the South are like not very well educated and they don't speak proper English. And one of the words that's very closely associated with this regional group, right? This regional group is y'all. Okay. Adriana, can you do colloquialisms for us?
Colloquialism is the use
Mhm.
of conversational language in writing, including slang, vernacular, and euphemisms. In your writing will make it more colloquial, even if the word colloquial is itself not very colloquial.
Mhm. Perfect. Yeah. So here we're talking about, right, like a conversational writing tone. And when we use things like euphemisms in our writing, it makes it sound more conversational. Um, let's see. Adriana, is conversational formal or informal?
Informal.
Informal, exactly. Yeah. So if we want our writing to be more informal, we use euphemism. If we're writing like an email at work, maybe we don't. Okay. And then Isa, idioms.
Idioms are words or phrases that take of a meaning different from the literal translation. Euphemism, yo no he podido con esa palabra. Euphemism,
Is a hard word. Yeah.
yes, it's a hard for the pronunciation. It's difficult for me. Euphemism,
Mhm.
euphemism. Okay. Um, okay, are a type of idiom. However, we use idioms in English that are not intended to cover a difficult situation. So not all idioms are euphemisms. Euphemisms. Ah, perfect. Euphemisms. An example of an idiom that is not a euphemism is the phrase "at the drop of a hat." English speakers understand the phrase to mean someone is starting to talk immediately, not that they are releasing, releasing a hat to gravity,
Mhm.
gravity, because it does not have to be related to a sensitive or taboo subject. Is not a euphemism. Euphemism.
Yeah. Euphemism. Yeah. It is a
Euphemism.
challenging word for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
euphemism. Is
Yeah.
not
I mean, like for
euphemism.
me in Spanish, like eufemismo, like I was like, ah,
So try
yeah.
to say facatativa.
Facatitiva. I
Facatativa.
think they say like
Ah,
trabalengua, like a
yeah,
tongue
yeah, yeah.
twister.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my
So
hometown.
how, yeah. Isa, how are euphemisms similar to idioms?
How similar?
Yeah, how are they similar? What's the similarity that we have between a euphemism and an idiom?
Are euphemisms similar to idioms? So I think no, because no is different.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're different from each other in the sense that um what's the difference between them?
Uh, I don't know. Our euphemisms similar to idioms. Similar to idioms. I don't know.
No, that's all right. So with a euphemism and an idiom, both of them are not literal. That when we look at the words kick the bucket, literally that doesn't mean anything. Um, like they're not literal expressions, an idiom and euphemism. The difference is when we're talking about idioms, we're not necessarily talking about sensitive or taboo subjects. So if I say it's raining cats and dogs, literally it's not raining cats or dogs, but it is a way that we can refer to things in a non-literal way using idioms. Okay.
Okay.
So Wilmer, why is at the drop of a hat considered an idiom but not a euphemism?
For example, is a idiom for the at the drop of the hat. For
Mm-hmm.
example, is a literal translation. So for example, the euphemisms, for example, I remember to the pass away or the kick it or the bucket
Mm-hmm.
is not literally because it's not literally, it's there only in your mind.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. Yeah. So drop of a hat, raining cats and dogs. It's not literal. But the key difference, they're not referring to sensitive subjects, whereas a euphemism, it's a way of talking about sensitive subjects. So perfect. Good work today. We will have our next session a week from today at the same time. I will send you all an email so you have access to this document with the notes. And thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Suspense.
Thank you so much,
You.
Spence.
Thank you, Spence.
Thank you.